Hey friends, happy Monday. I hope it's a happy Monday for you. We're kind of happy here in southeastern Virginia because we have finally got some heat. It's only about a month later than we normally get it, and I am really excited to come and talk to you guys tonight. First off, there's always a story, right? I had to totally change my position at the last minute because I had absolutely no cell service in my work building because Instagram doesn't work off of Wi-Fi, right? So I had to grab all my stuff and drag it out here. I'm sitting on my new back porch at my house. The porch actually isn't finished. It's got plywood on it right now. And anyway, so I did get my drink and I came over here and Tucker wasn't happy because I had to throw him in the house. So I am thrilled tonight that Dave is joining me on here. Dave Dowling and I used to do lives together all the bloomin' time. And so now, after 2 years, we haven't done this for 2 years, Dave and mine's course are bundled for quite a bargain. And when that happens, he and I do a bunch of lives together. And I am just really, really thrilled to actually do that because he and I just don't get together as much as we used to. He is super busy in his work, and y'all know that, we're always busy. And I think it's the nature of flower farmers, right? If you think you have an extra nanosecond, what can I do then, right? You start to fill it up. So Dave and I are going to talk about, the girls have sent me a couple of pages of questions that have come into the office, and I'm just waiting for Dave to come on here and hit the request button. He may be having trouble getting on. Sometimes it seems to me particularly, because I talk about this stuff all the time, right? I feel like a broken record, and that people get tired of hearing about the details and how it works and all that information and kind of what you'll learn. But it is obvious from the questions that I get, that all of us get, that there's still a lot of people that are really interested in learn. Oh, there's Dave. All right, so let's hit the button to bring Dave on, and let's get this. He and Kelly talk more than he and I do now. It used to be that I did all that kind of stuff and got to converse with him. Oh, it said he was declined. Why was that? Did you hit the wrong button, Dave? Just hit it again and I'll accept it again. Technology is enough to make us crazy, y'all, for real. But anyway, so we are super thrilled to announce that both of our courses, there he is. View request. It wants to be live. Go live with Dave. So let's see if that'll get him on here. Dave and I both are up. Here he comes.
But now, do we need to spin our phones? I always forget if it's supposed to be landscape or
up and down.
Up and down. Okay, so we're good here. Okay.
You look good.
That looks good. Okay.
So
how you doing?
I'm good, Dave. I was just telling everybody that, like, literally 4 minutes to 7, I looked at my cell signal on my phone.
Oh, I heard all that. I just didn't ask to join yet because I couldn't find the button.
Oh my God.
It's not easy to find. You have to click on something and then click on it. They keep changing it.
Telling you. And so we now have this booster for our cell signal on here, but it's in my house. So I had to literally to run out of the building. I'm now sitting on the back porch and hoping the mosquitoes don't carry me away. Anyway, super happy, friend, for us we haven't done this in so long.
In a while, yeah.
So I was just sharing that I think it's been 2 years since we've actually offered your course and my course together as a bundle, which is really how it all started, right? I mean, it's like step A and step B was kind of like the natural progression, right? And so I want to talk about first, before because the girls have sent me, Anne, who does our she receives the emails that we get, has all kinds of questions, and she's kind of tried to smush them together. But I want to tell a couple of things first, just out of the gate, for especially if there's any of our students on here listening. So first off, if you're one of our students and would be willing to share your impression of our courses and your experience, you know, give a shout out here or anywhere on social media to say, hey, I took their courses. I'll tell you what I thought.
Right.
Word of mouth is the best way, don't you think, Dave? I mean,
Most definitely, yes.
so, but what I want to talk about, I want to just do the rundown on what's included because it's still surprising. A lot of folks just, I guess, don't go to the product page on the website. All the details are there if you ever want to see them. In addition, you can see all the course
Right.
content. The syllabus is right there. It's a button at the top of my page for my course and on Dave's page on his course. You can open it up and see all the flowers that he includes in his course, right? I mean,
Yeah, you get it. It's an index to see what's going to be in the class
it's
for
true.
the
And
session.
I told we were just talking last week that I don't even think that I did not know what a syllabus was before I started doing this. It's like
Hmm.
the table of contents,
Right.
right? I mean,
Table
or the
context
index.
and an index,
And
right?
the index. And so you can literally go to the pages right now and click that and see the whole thing. So first, because my course is on first, I will on this page. So my class is called Flower Farming School Online, the Basics, Annual Crops, Marketing, and More. And this is really kind of like the foundational kind of stuff to kind of like get in there, get your business started. But more importantly, to make that transition, right, Dave, from gardening to farming, because it is totally different,
Totally
isn't it?
different. Plus, your courses, even for people who are even doing it for a few years, but didn't really set their farm business up the way they should have, which is easy to do. Just start selling flowers. Don't know what you need to do to be legal and do it
Right.
right. And your class explains all that, which I think really important.
Yeah. And I think because I did come from a business
Mhm.
background, I was a business manager of a very busy animal hospital for almost 20 years. And that kind of set me up to learn. I mean, I learned all about all the licenses, and I
Mhm.
mean business license, not veterinary doctor stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's like after doing it over and over and over again, I was really comfortable. I did sales tax, we did all of those things that are really scary when you have no clue. And unless you happen to hit the right person when you can't hardly
No.
even call those places
No.
anymore.
It's
Sometimes
all
if you go
online.
down to the counter, I mean, but if you get a really nice person, they'll like give you the whole enchilada, but we find that that's happening less and less for people, I mean, and I think a lot of that is a lot of the really experienced people, whether it be insurance, or going down for your licensing, those types of things. A lot of those people are kind of new at it too,
Right.
and they just aren't comfortable saying, hey, honey. I mean, I can remember the lady handed me a piece of paper that listed every license the city of Newport News offers. She said, see which ones you
See
qualify
which one
for.
would work for you, because I probably don't have many
Yep.
farms in Newport News, so even know what license you need.
Yep. So anyway, so my course is really about the first class is really all about setting your business up. I mean, from sales tax, and why you need to have a professional team that you lean on. And by what I mean by that is you got to have an insurance agent.
Mhm.
You need to have a banker. I mean, I know even if you don't have any money yet, you got to have and that just means you have somebody at the bank that if you have a problem, you can call them up and talk
Right.
the commercial, because when you are a commercial customer, that kind of gives you little added
Right.
perks that you don't get. And even when you don't have money yet, y'all, I mean, that's kind of when you need them even more, to go in there. Anyway, so my course kind of takes you that first class through doing all of that. And then it's about setting up your garden as a working garden, and then what to grow, then who to sell that stuff to, harvesting and conditioning. And I mean, it's just that transition. And I'll tell you that I just got a DM, which I really meant to print out to talk to y'all about, but I'll talk about it later this week because she told me I could share it. She actually had shared that she, for years, had been growing vegetables and herbs, I believe, and selling them. And so she thought she would just bypass the basics class, my class, and she took your
Hmm.
class, which, of course, she said, was awesome. I learned about all these things. But boy, did I learn that I really didn't know about the basics of the
Right.
flower business. And now, in retrospect and taking the class, I mean, she's selling four figures a week from her garden
Amazing.
in season. And she was just thanking me and, just sharing her wonderful success. But I think that we don't know what we don't know. So in my course, there are 54 video sessions, 34 bonus sessions, 40 printout handouts, and what is new, and especially if our students are on here, my course and your course, Dave, now have searchable, frequently asked
Right.
questions. I know that my course, I think, has 2,600 questions that I've been asked, and I answered them. And I think yours is somewhere in that same neighborhood, and you can actually search them to find where they are, as well as we have the Cool Flowers Field Growers Report. So it's kind of um, the basics of really not just getting your feet wet, but building a cinder block foundation to stand on. And Dave, I love the way that you describe about our Facebook communities. Tell us what you have, because we each have one for our
Right.
students.
Each of the classes the Garden Workshop does has a Facebook group, and highly recommend anyone who takes the class to join the Facebook group. You don't need to use Facebook for anything else. I actually recommend getting, if you already have a Facebook account with your personal information, your personal family stuff, get another one that you use just for business. So if you want to advertise your business, you can keep that separate. You just need to have a separate email address to do it. But you can also just use Facebook only for our class, our group class, and not use it for anything else if you don't want to. You don't have to go on and do all the other family stuff and
Right.
social stuff if you don't want to. But in that Facebook group, there are students that have taken the class over the past, I think, 3 years, maybe almost going on 4 years now. Hundreds of students in there who are sharing success stories, things that they grew that worked great, asking questions. They come like, "What's this bug? I've never seen it before." And within no time at all, people say, "Oh, that's this bug, and here's how you take care of it." You want to get rid of it, or, "Oh, it's going to go away on its own, don't worry about it." So it's a really helpful resource. It's almost like having a whole bunch of other farmers in your back pocket or sitting next to you on the desk to answer your questions.
As well as we
We
drop
go in
in
there too.
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I try really hard once a week to sit down and scroll through to see if there's, I mean, so often, and it makes me proud actually, when I go in there and I read the answers that were already answered there, and I'll comment and say, yes, what Cindy and Joanne say above,
Right.
right on.
Yep. Well, often
Yeah.
they'll say Lisa said, and they just quote what we've already
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. And so I feel like that Facebook community, particularly when you're having troubles, I mean, whether you're just the ups and downs of business that's just a
Mm-hmm.
natural happening. So many times people kind of just really know where you are. And this is a really safe community.
Oh, yeah.
We have never really had would never tolerate any negativity or those types of
Right.
behaviors, which some people really associate with Facebook, and we would remove them immediately. But friends, I'm here to tell you, after all these
Never had to.
years, we've never really, I mean, we've had one or two that's like, no, we don't allow selling stuff on
Right.
there, that kind of thing, but never, you can reveal your biggest blunder and people are going to say, well,
They're
I
going to help
think
you.
you should try this.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think those Facebook communities with like-minded people that have also put a little rubber in the game. You know what I mean? It's so different than these open chat rooms where people that aren't really basing their answers on really great information.
Right.
So let's talk about Dave's class. Then I'm going to tell you about the unbelievable deal that we have. So Dave's course is called Bulbs, Perennials, Woodies, and More. And this description is super short. This is the main liner. After mastering the basics of starting and running a flower farm, this course will take your farm to the next level with additional crops and growing methods. If you're an avid gardener seeking in-depth information on bulbs, perennials, woodies, you will love this course. So Dave, I first want to say you don't have to take my course first and then
Right.
Dave's course. All of our courses, not just ours, all of ours are totally standalone. There is definitely greater depth of experience and learning when you take cover all your bases, right? But what I encourage, and I actually heard you say this on your new welcome video, which was so awesome, by the way, in your course, that really recommend this time of the year for people, particularly now, because the price, the bundle offer that we're talking about today is only available for the next 5 days. This is not something that will be available later. And you use it as a tool at this point when you are covered up, right? I mean, what you said
Yeah.
on your thing was
Well,
really
you'll have
great.
you'll in your class, you've got the 6 different sessions and all the 6 different classes, all the different sessions. You may not be ready to plant woodies yet, but you've got the information. So when you're ready to go out and plant 9-bark or Physa or whatever, you can just search it and read all about that crop, how to grow it, how to plant it, whether it needs sun or shade, how to harvest it, and that kind of stuff. So you don't have to read or follow the whole class all at once. You can pick and choose the things you want, or if you want to binge watch the whole thing and take 3 days to do it, go ahead. But it's always there for you to go back to and use as a reference to look up crops as you add those different crops to your crop list. And I don't recommend anybody try and grow everything all at once, because you'll end up with just a field of weeds. Pick 4 or 5 perennials, 4 or 5 bulb crops, and add those this year, add some new ones next year, but don't try and do them all at once. It's just recipe for failure, having that many new crops at once.
True. What better sense of security is there to have your business set up, to have some customers that are like wanting everything that you're growing, and then to say, all right, now I'm going to invest. I mean, even though, Dave, there is a crop that everybody, if they know they're going to be a flower farmer, if you know you're in this for at least a 5-year haul, what's the perennial everybody should plant?
They should be planting peonies. As soon as you got the money to buy peonies, plant them. As long as you're in a zone 8 and colder, it doesn't work in zone 9 and 10. But as soon as you can afford to plant peonies, do it. Even if it's only 25 plants the first year and add another 50 next year. But aim to have several hundred, or some people have 1,000 peonies, depending on how big your market is, how many customers you have. I was looking today, I saw a Facebook, Instagram video of a grower who planted 2,500 peonies 3 years ago. They're just starting to get into production. And someone asked, what are you going to do when you get 10 flowers of each of those 2,500 plants? That's 25,000 peony flowers. She goes, I'm going to sell them. What's the question? It's flowers, I'm going to sell them. It might mean she has to have more new customers or existing customers buy more. And it was the same customer who said that she was selling bulk buckets of peonies to the florists, and they could buy a bucket of 10, 50, or 100. And she sold 700 peonies to, I think, 6 florists. And that was so much easier than selling bundles of 5 at a farmer's market to 350 people or 300 people, whatever it would be.
And that is just something that I really love talking about. Is there's so many different ways to sell.
Oh yes,
and it's definitely a progression. It's like so often so many of us start at the farmer's market. I mean, you and I both. I sold for 14 years. You sold for your whole 20 years.
For 20 years in farmer's markets, yeah.
And then, kind of florists were my mainliners. Then we picked up supermarkets. And back when I started, I would have never believed that I'd have been selling to supermarkets.
Right.
That became possible. So Dave's class, I'll tell you, we make fun and call Dave the walking encyclopedia, and it's really true. Well, his course is literally set up like an encyclopedia table of contents. There are 86 video sessions. He covers 70 different flower crops. He has the searchable instructor frequently asked questions. And the reason we say that what that means is these are questions that we were asked by students, that it's me it's Dave in his course and me in my course answering those questions.
Right.
I didn't write down. Did you remember? Did anybody ever tell you how many questions?
Oh, I don't know
were time
how many questions. I know it's at least probably 50 hours worth of questions and answers. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
but searchable,
And
but searchable.
I'm telling you, that was a really big step for
Oh, a lot of
mankind
work.
that we made
But
this
they're
year.
also, it's also a great thing to listen to on a long road
Yeah.
trip. As long as you have internet service through your cell service, you can listen to them driving down the road. You don't have to watch a video or anything. You just listen. Same thing. They're great for just listening when you're out planting and weeding and picking in the
It,
field.
it's so very true. And so, in addition, he has 5 bonus webinars and 25 printable handouts. And so, our courses, let's just get down to the bacon here and then we can chit chat some more. Is that both of our courses at this point in time are $595 a piece. We are offering a special bundle deal, so that normally would be $1,190. You can buy both of our courses together for $120 off for $1,070. And friends, that is a drop. That's a BB in the Astrodome when you compare how you will recoup that money, right, Dave? I mean, it's so
The
hard. I mean,
first
it's a
crop,
lot of money.
it
It's a
can be your first crop. Like with you and your annuals, you've drilled into everybody's conscience. Plant those sunflowers, plant them every
yes,
week. You bought a tractor growing
yep,
sunflowers. You just got to get people to do it. The other thing I want to point out, you haven't mentioned yet, or maybe you have, or you're going to, is unlike before, you would buy the class today and you have to wait till, second week of July to do it. You buy it now, and I don't know how quick your processing is, but it's in their inbox within
immediately,
minute, right,
immediately,
immediately. So they have it right away. So if you buy it tomorrow, you can start tomorrow afternoon watching it.
right. And so, yeah, that's another great point, Dave. So you're going to save $120 by bundling it together. And I want to say, if you are, we call people that have taken any of our online courses, that's any of them, not just the ones we're talking about here. When you do that, you become a member of the Gardener's Workshop family. We call it the family plan. And so if you are a student of any other course and you don't have mine and Dave's, friends, what a deal. So in addition to the $120 off, you get an additional $75 off. So that makes it $995 for both of our courses. And that's $175 savings. I mean, that is just, and you have, so let's review let's see, I don't think I have that on this paper. So Dave, we're going to have to do this from memory. So you have, whenever you buy any of our courses, lifetime unlimited access. And what does
Right.
that mean? That means long as there's internet,
Right.
and you know your login to get into your online library, those courses are going to be sitting there for you to watch over
Right.
and over and over. And I will tell you, I think that's perhaps, Dave, one of the most overlooked benefit of these courses. I am still, and I know you've heard me say this 100 times, I am still going back and watching the course that I took to make online courses
Right.
7 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen and it's like, holy cow, how did I miss that nugget?
Right.
You
Well,
know?
like I was saying, even with your class in mind, there's some crop that they're just not ready to grow yet. They don't have the space,
Right.
they don't have the time. And 3 years from now, they said, okay, I'm ready to grow whatever crop it is, Baptisia. Now they can go to my class and look, here's how to grow Baptisia. Here's some varieties to recommend to grow. When your class, the sunflower varieties grow, or some other annual you've got, the way to pinch celosia or not pinch it and how to grow it. It's not necessarily they're going to read it or watch it today or tomorrow. It might be a year from now or 2 years from now, but they've always got it available.
Right.
And there's also the phone app, so you can watch it on your phone or listen from your phone. It doesn't have to be a computer. That's the other really important thing.
And wasn't that just the greatest? I guess it was 2 years ago that we got the phone app to go with our courses.
Mm-hmm.
And that means, and now I think it was last year, they've made it so just like you're listening to a podcast, your phone can go to sleep and you can continue to listen.
Right.
So, I listen when I'm folding laundry or driving down the road. I mean, you can, or when you're harvesting or whatever, sowing seeds.
And the other thing it does is it remembers where you're at. So if you
Yeah.
watch half of a session and go back tomorrow or next week, it'll start you in the middle of that video, or you can fast forward to the beginning, rewind to the beginning, but it's going to remember where you're. Just like on the Amazon Prime movies, it knows I've watched half that movie and it says you want to finish watching it. Just click on it and it starts right where you ended.
Right. And so there is a link directly to the offer in my profile. But you can go actually to the homepage of thegardenersworkshop.com. There's a button at the top that says course bundle deal or something. And you can go straight to it. And if you're one of our students and you haven't taken our courses, it's just seize the moment. And this offer is available until Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to have 5 days of you listening to me and Dave. And I mean, we better, I've been flower, Dave and I both have been flower farming almost for half a century when you put us together.
Oh, I'm 30, 29 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're 50 years
Yeah.
between us.
Yeah. And we understand that now is a really crazy, overwhelming bundle time. But I also feel like the greenies are flowing right now. The dollars are flowing. And this is the time
Yeah.
that you have got to invest in your business.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. So we haven't even, I got to tell you that some of the questions that people have been sending in. So Dave, here is one that I hear a lot is, how will growing more crops, let's just say we got somebody that's been flower farming and piddling, how will adding additional crops like some of the perennials and some of the woodies, how does that kind of help expand and get more income for your business?
Well, I always like to use food analogies. There's a reason Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors of ice cream, because you have 31 flavors. You're going to sell ice cream to more people. If all you have is zinnias and sunflowers, you're only going to sell zinnias and sunflowers. And a florist, or even at a farmer's market, you can only sell so many. A florist doesn't need to spend $500 in sunflowers every week. But if you have sunflowers, phlox, baptisia, 15 different varieties of flowers, they might spend $500 with you every week.
Yeah.
And when you do that and do that by 5 florists, all of a sudden you get $2,500 a week in sales to florists. 5 of them at $500 each. And that's not hard to do if you have a wide range of crops to offer them.
That's a really good one, because that's the way I felt about sunflowers. I was selling to florists, had big standing orders, and when the Arnowskis and Vicky Stanback really turned me on to growing sunflowers, then it was like, oh my gosh, to be able to add 10 bunches of sunflowers to nice orders already that I was having,
Right.
It was like icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
So having more variety, but we also want to say, particularly if you're selling to florists, you need to sell fewer varieties of greater volume. You don't need to have, oh my gosh, and how many times do I see these buckets? They have 1 or 2 bunches of 20 different things and don't understand why florists don't want it. The florist might not be familiar. They might be willing to test 1 or 2 things that they're not familiar with, but they ain't testing all of it.
Well, also,
this is
a lot of times florists are doing events or weddings. They don't need 1 bunch of white dahlias and 1 bunch of pink. They need 20 bunches of white dahlias that all match. And you don't have to grow 6 different varieties of white dahlias. Just grow the 1 or 2 good varieties that are going to be productive and have the flowers the florist wants.
One of the most surprising things that has come out of Jenny Love's mouth when she and I were talking, Jenny Love, the bigot, Philly, flower farmer, florist, totally, for anybody that's not familiar, loving fresh flowers, you need to look her up. And Jenny does big weddings and a lot of them. Guess how many different dahlia varieties she grows?
Probably no more than 10 or 12.
10.
Yeah.
And that is it in a nutshell. That's why I tell people, when we were planting 1,200 sunflowers a week, guess what? I grew 1 sunflower in 1 color and sold them all the time. And I just hope that that's a lesson, I think, and I understand, because I had the same, oh my gosh, I need to have different ones every week for them. Not really. Not really.
Right.
They're looking for consistency and quality, right? All right. So as you get buyers, adding more variety and diversity in enough volume to really make an impact is really simple to really build your bottom line, in my experience. And I know that's been yours too.
I'll say the same thing if you're selling at a farmer's market. You can't go with just sunflowers and zinnias. You need to have a lot of different variety, because people don't always want sunflowers and zinnias. They want other stuff too.
They love coming in and seeing what you have. That's why, I'm such a seasonal grower, because I do grow everything in the field. How we sometimes find ourselves, oh my gosh, I want to make snapdragons bloom all summer. Why? Because there's summer
There's
flowers
other ones, right? You got
that,
Lisianthus and
yeah,
Celestials, right?
and there's other stuff, and that helps people also, right? So here's one from someone. I've been tinkering with growing flowers with limited success. I see lots of people having success growing on social media. Just not sure what I'm missing. Would these courses help me? So I want to first say, and then Dave, I'll let you chime
You're
in.
going to say the same thing I'm thinking, I'm sure.
Well, I want to say that I would be willing to bet that 90% of the people on social media that we think are out there selling flowers are really not, how do we
Well,
say it?
well, I would say they're selling flowers, and they might be selling a lot of flowers and growing a lot of flowers, but they're not showing you the problems or the bad stuff with their compost pile and the times they, had a truck full of flowers and nobody wanted to buy them because it just, for whatever reason, they only show the pretty stuff. But that's what Instagram's for, is pretty
Yeah.
stuff. Every once in a while, you have a farmer that'll show the bad stuff, the backside of the ugly part of the business. But usually it's all, pretty flowers and sunshine and rainbows. But it's you don't want to necessarily aspire to be that perfect farmer because there's no such thing.
Well, I
You always have a
think you
crop that doesn't
nailed it.
work.
Instagram is a marketing
Oh, it's
tool as
amazing.
Facebook
Yes.
is. So you need to remember that. And that's one of the things that I love so much in our private Facebook groups is, I mean, right now there's 3 that I need to go back in and look at. People are having, I mean, they've got root rot. They got diseases
Okay.
in their soil. They're just stuff is melting down. You would never see that
No.
out on the open internet most
Mm-mm.
often. But what I feel like is there are so many people that are dabbling and growing flowers, but they're really not out there. They are not pounding the pavement, setting up their business and going for it. Because I think that's how I became so successful. It's like when I flipped the switch that day and said, by golly, I'm going to start a business and I'm doing it. From that day on, I got up every day and did it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it is, if you're going to do it as a business, so you got to treat it as a job and you got to go to work. Not every day, take the weekend or a day off during the week at
Well,
least, but you have to go
right.
to work every day just like you would if you worked at an office. Um,
And
so, we treat it as a job and you can get a decent income from it and a rewarding career and a good business. But the other
yes,
thing I was going to say, as you started to mention, is if somebody's a home gardener and they're not really just selling the flowers, just want to have a really nice garden, these classes are also great for them because it tells them how to grow the varieties, what to grow, how to treat them, when to harvest them. So you don't have to be a business trying to sell the flowers. If you just want to have the best damn garden in the neighborhood, it's a great class to take.
and so that's a question. I looked right. It says, I've grown a vegetable garden for years. I donate my extras. I also like to grow flowers to give away. Are these courses for me? Well, you
Oh yeah,
just answered that.
right.
And also, Dave, I am still um, surprised, or not, when I kind of think back, how surprised I was. I was a fairly well equipped gardener. I mean, I was a new gardener, but I went to Master Gardener School. I
Right.
read everything, I had all the books. I was so surprised over all the shortcuts in growing a big garden
Commercially, right.
commercially.
In a big
Oh
garden,
my
yes.
God. I mean, it's like, why were we even worrying about doing X? When you do Z, it eliminates that. You never even have to deal with
Right.
that
But
problem.
that's like sometimes you see the way some people are planting anything from dahlia tubers to
Oh my God.
tulips to plugs. They're dropping the plugs in from 4 feet off the ground and kick it with the foot and move on. That can work. You don't have to get on your hands and knees to plant everything. It's amazing what you can do when you're doing it in volume. I also want to say I know somebody who took my class before, who she grows the flowers and she doesn't do it to sell them. She grows them to make bouquets to take to the people that are in hospice in the
Wow.
county. So, if somebody's in hospice, they get fresh flowers every week from her farm. So that's just something she does as a volunteer community kind of effort thing.
And that is pretty dadgum rewarding.
Yes.
That is pretty amazing. So here's someone that says that they have recently purchased a farm and they're really excited to have some space to grow flowers, but she's never really tried to grow anything on that scale
Right.
before. And she's not really sure where to start. And I would say to you that I think somebody like that has such an advantage
Oh,
when they
yes.
take my course and then your course, because they have no preconceived ideas
Right.
about how to do stuff. And I take you through not only the setting up your business part, which you get that out of the way and eat the ugly frog first is my method on that, right? But how to, why we we plant in raised beds and how to prevent weeds and what
Yes.
to grow and how we space stuff so much closer
Oh,
than what most people do in a landscape, right?
right. If you read the label on the planter where they tell you online how far apart to plant the different perennials, whether it's, um, Baptisia or peonies, it's totally different than what you do on a farm. Same thing, if you read the package of sunflower, it tells you to plant them 12 inches apart.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. That's not what we do as a cut flower grower.
It's true. And I mean, I again saw some pictures just today on social media, and I wanted to say, and I just really don't have, occasionally I will comment on outside of our groups. I just really don't have time to,
Right.
kind of watch over there. But I want to say, you should have like 8 plants in that space
Right.
that you have one plant,
Yeah. I would say
spaced out.
I saw a really good video on Instagram this morning of somebody a farmer with their peony field. She planted, I forget how many peonies 3 years ago. And she put down, I spent $12,000 to buy these peonies, but I started picking them the very first year and they're already paid for. Where some places tell you to wait 3 years or 4 years or even longer before you pick your first peony. I'm at the school. If you got a flower you can pick and leave a lot of leaves in the plant, pick it, make your money now.
Right.
Like to say, you could be dead in 3 years. But somebody actually, the very first comment was, I believe I did exactly what Dave Dowling did. I picked mine and I'm happy I did. So
Awesome.
it's fun to see when somebody totally unrelated, the person that had the video was not a student or anything, but somebody commented on her video that, I listened to Dave Dowling and I picked my peonies as soon as they were blooming and they're doing great.
Yeah. And so, and here's a question. Here's one that I believe that I was this person too. She's been growing flowers for a while and she feels like she's pretty good at it, but she is terrified to try to sell them.
Oh,
And, that was me. I had to be talked
yeah.
down to the
Yes.
florist.
But you got
And
over that and you know how to teach people to get over it.
well, and I think the confidence
The
that you
yes.
get from taking these
Yeah.
classes and then learning what you should say, what you shouldn't say, how you prepare yourself to go down there and what to say to them. It just builds you right up. And then when you're received, and I can still remember, I went to a couple florists after that one that weren't so, after I'd been selling for a few years and I was expanding, further away. And a couple of them were like, eh. And it was like, what?
What do you mean?
What? And you just really, and so it's not that you ever get really immune to that, but when you win really, really big.
Right.
So, let's see. I've been growing cut flowers for a few years now, but I'm realizing that there are other flower growers in my area too. This is really common now, and I'm not sure how I can compete. Are these courses for me? I would say, heck yes.
Yes.
Because again, Dave, and I'll let you, especially with your course, bringing on more
Something different.
diversity,
Right.
but learning how to produce quality and consistency is what the commercial customers, in flower farmers markets also, right?
Better the flowers. If you go to a farmer's market, you can tell the person growing the flowers as a side gig with the veggies. Usually the flowers aren't that good. The flowers are overblown. They're old. Short, bruised, everything. When you see the person who's a real flower farmer who does it right, possibly somebody took our class or is just an ASCFG member, the quality of the flowers is night and day. The variety selection is just huge difference. And you see it in the lines of customers standing in front of the flower farmer who does it right and has the quality and the variety versus the one that's, selling tomatoes along with their extra flowers along with their tomatoes.
So here's a new question that just came in from Harmony and Blooms. I am growing in limited space, just like me. How do I make my business profitable? Are your courses for small farmers like me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Learning how to make the very, very most. It's small is relative, right? When I first started, I had less than 2/4 acre gardens. I think small, I was never as profitable per square foot as I was when I only had that limited space. You know what I mean? You make the most out of it. So to answer your question, Harmony and Blooms, heck yes, these courses are for you.
Yeah.
And
I know growers that still only grow on less than half an acre and they're making enough money to to get by. They're not getting filthy rich. There might be only one person they found to do it, and the one spouse has a regular job, and the husband or the wife stays home and runs the farm.
Yeah.
But you can make decent money grow and cut flowers. You can make more money per square foot grow and cut flowers than pretty much anything except for maybe marijuana. That might be the only thing that's worth more.
Yeah, and I think it's all relative to what you want to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
So, I mean, if you are a mom with small kids at home, obviously you have very, very limited time. And to have a small cutting garden, and when I say small, I mean you could have three or four 25 or 35-foot beds, and you could easily support a, a few bouquet
Oh,
subscriptions with
yes.
that. I mean, and generate enough money to help contribute to your kids. I mean, just that the lady that was telling you about that was telling me that she took your course and then
Hmm.
took mine, and now I mean, and that's what she said. She'd been homeschooling for many years, and her kids are just going off to school, and they're going to private school, and she is now generating the income to
To
pay
pay
for
for the
her kids'
school.
private school.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is, you know, we have a lot of friends that are big farmers. I look at Mima and Steve and Gretel and Pamela and Frank, these people that have big
Uh,
farms, but the vast majority of domestic flower farmers
are
are
the one or
smaller.
two mom and pop kind of
Yes.
places, a small one or two people running it, maybe a little bit of part-time help. Yeah.
And even getting your feet wet smaller than that. You know what I mean? To start really small.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you have the greatest benefit of starting really small. Who'd have ever dreamed that I'm in the middle of the city, that we would have the opportunity to buy an additional acre and a half on our little acre? 1.17 is what I had, and my house is
Right.
on that. I mean, who would have ever dreamed that that would happen in the middle of a city of 200,000 people? And it happened.
Right.
So you just don't know what the future holds. But I feel like the people that have the longest haul success are those that start really
Right.
small and really figure this out. And then I'm telling you, I learned how to squeeze my landscape, putting hydrangeas and those crops, Lenten roses and deep shade, one of my biggest cash crops that Dave teaches you
Yeah.
about. So there's just, so yes, how much land is needed to get started is this question. So what would you say to that,
I
Dave?
know people do it in their backyard. I mean, you can be on a half-acre lot and grow in the backyard and have a flower
It's
business.
true.
It all depends how much work you want to do, how much you want to put into it, how many customers you want to have. You can do that and have a stand at the end of your driveway and sell bouquets out of a little shed at the end of your driveway, and that's all you do. Or you
If
can
it's
have a,
legal. If it's legal.
if
I
it's legal,
can't do
right?
that
You
here.
can't do it. You can't.
Uh-uh.
Or do a bouquet subscription or sell to people where you're at the, a lot of people start out doing the flowers where they're already still working another business, working at a dentist's office, a law firm or somewhere, and they grow the flowers and sell to the coworkers.
Yep.
And they still have their real job, but then they have the flower farm in the evenings and the weekends. And
That's
they're
so
happy doing that.
funny.
They get to
Yes.
play in the dirt. And I know several farmers I know who have left nursing. They've quit being an attorney and they're now doing flowers. And, if they can do it, I don't know anybody else can do it.
And I'm so glad you said that, because I had a student, and she's your student too, that was a nurse, and she felt really, really was having a hard time finding her niche because she did
Yeah.
work. And then lo and behold, guess what? She did subscriptions at
Yeah.
work, and she started taking them and delivering them. Me, it's like I look at everything as a dadgum opportunity,
Yes.
and there are so many ways to be able to actually sell your flowers. So I don't want anybody to be discouraged from small space, or if you don't know where you're going to sell them. That is something that I talk about. We talk about a lot of different ideas in my course of places and how to sell. Dave also touches on that in
Mm-hmm.
his course as well. Um, and this next question, do your courses cover how to build soil? We do in the second class is building your garden. And I show how to build beds using a shovel or a walk behind tiller or a tractor with an implement.
Yeah.
And, we are big soil builder, compost, building
Cover
your soil,
crops.
because it just makes farming
Right.
easier.
You
So,
cover crops.
yes. And so to answer your question, yes, we actually do talk about those things. Um, so I'm just looking. So this is not about courses, but read that. Do you see the questions,
No.
Dave?
Just
Okay, it
if I
says,
put my glasses
hey, I
on.
know not ideal. Had to spring plant 20 peony roots. Should I keep them watered if no rain? I would
Oh
say
yeah,
yes.
most
Right?
definitely. Anytime you plant new peonies, the very first season from spring when they sprout till fall, you want to make sure you keep them watered, especially in the middle of the summer if you have a drought, because July and August is when they're making the flower buds for next year and the eyes for the new shoots. So you definitely want to keep them watered, weeded, and a little bit of fertilizer the first year especially.
And friends, that is a BB in the Astrodome of all the information that's in Dave's course. So let me say this, and then I'll repeat with the specialist because we have a lot of new people that have joined us. If you already own one of our courses and you don't need both the courses, that means you're a member of the TGW family, and you should have received an email that had your special family
Right.
$50 off coupon to buy either one of our courses, whichever one that you actually need. So again, this special offer that we have that's just for this week. Normally, both our courses are $595 each. You have lifetime unlimited access to both of them. We are offering them as a bundle this week, and the bundle saves you $120. So both of them together are $1,070. That is, Dave, I'm just such a crazy numbers person. I look at that and say, all right, that would be two 20-week bouquet subscriptions,
That's
or
one
that
pack of
would be,
sunflower seeds after you grow them.
yeah,
One pack, 1,000 sunflower seeds, you make more than that.
exactly. And here somebody just wrote, I love these courses. I just referred to them today. So folks, if you see people posting the sunflower emoji, that's like the emoji of the gardener's workshop. And
That's our
reach out
students.
to those people and say, hey, what did you think of those courses? We want you to talk to our students and find out. So the bundle offer, you can get to it on through my profile here at Instagram, and it's on the homepage of thegardenersworkshop.com. The offer is only good until Friday at 8 p.m. And as Dave mentioned earlier, the structure is a little different now. When you purchase, you instantly get access to both of our classes. So you can just dive in. You know, I can see me laying on a beach somewhere on vacation with the earbuds in, doing this the whole time instead of reading a
Right.
novel. I mean, it's just, and see, there's more people posting sunflowers. These are all people
Right.
that are our students, and
Taking
we would
classes.
just love for you to reach out to them.
And there is still the money back guarantee
Yes.
if they've got how many
7
time
days,
frame.
once as soon 7 days from the time you purchase the course, you have a money back guarantee, no questions asked. If you get it, oh, and here's another one, absolutely do it. And I want to say, particularly if you've never owned or started a business, time is money.
And
And
mistakes are expensive.
and you know, it's just, oh, and our friend Wanda is on here, our
Oh
Alaska
yeah.
peony grower. Courses are, and bless her heart, she always reminds us, courses are tax deductible for
Yes.
your business.
If you've got your
Thank
business
you,
set up,
Wanda.
it's a tax write-off. Yes.
Yes.
That's a business
And
expense.
so, I mean, we just don't, you don't get it. I mean, I understand that $1,100 is a lot of money, but that is compared to the money it saves you by avoiding mistakes, buying the wrong stuff. I mean, we won't even go into how many short tulips people spent hundreds and hundreds of
Yes.
dollars on, or, I mean, just aren't. I mean, yes, I can tell you, I mean, you'll make that money back in a nanosecond if you do what's in the courses. If you apply what you
Right.
learn in these courses, the cost of the courses will be nothing, and you have lifetime unlimited access. And we're always making improvements to the course too. I mean, now just offering the time stamping. I've had an employee, Anne, by the way, has been time stamping hours and hours and
Yes.
hours and hours of our courses. It's going to be a year by the time she gets through all the courses, so that you can keyword search and find where stuff is mentioned. So you can look up what your problem is. And anyway, I just, it would have saved me years, not to
Yes.
mention a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um,
I know when I started out, I didn't know any of this stuff. It was all hit and miss and mistake after mistake after mistake.
yeah,
So I'm happy to share it with people so they can get a head start and move their cut flower business or their home garden forward without making a bunch of costly mistakes.
it's true. And you know, Dave, making mistakes and failing, you just get worn out doing that. We
Yes.
lose a lot of potential good domestic growers.
Well, I shared with you the post that one of our students posted the other day about the snapdragons. It was after 3 years of a snapdragon failure, she listened to our snapdragon podcast and
Yes.
amazing snapdragons this year because she planted the right ones at the right time.
It's
It makes a big difference.
amazing how that makes
Yeah.
such a big difference. And here's someone else, refer back to these courses, often excellent value. You don't know what you don't know. And you know, friends, I had a business coach, like, I guess it's been 3 years now, and it was a lot of money. But I knew, even though it about choked me to death to pay for it, that I would, I mean, she helped me so much. And that's where having people you can rely on and go to for good information. So Dave is going to be doing the Ask a Flower Farmer on Wednesdays at 12:30 on my Instagram account.
This Wednesday.
So, yeah, this Wednesday. And then we're live again. I don't even have a schedule.
I don't have it
Again
either.
later that day.
Yeah.
And then we're going live again on Friday. So
Friday.
if you
And
have
then next Sunday.
that's right. And if you have questions that you still have, like, you know, hanging out there, send them into the office and they'll get them to us and we'll address it, or come to the live event and ask them, and you know, we'll do our
Yes.
best to actually see what you know, how we can help you. So friends, remember, you can learn more about this. The bundle is in my profile. It's on the homepage. You can DM me or Dave if you have questions. We try to look in there, right, Dave?
Yep.
So friends, until we meet again, I'm getting about carried away by mosquitoes sitting out here, but it is quite nice. So Dave, I will see you again on Wednesday, and friends, now is a perfect time. If you didn't do it yesterday, today is the day to do it, right?
Yep. No time like the present.
That's exactly right. All right, friends, till we meet again. Ciao.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Dave.